Hi everybody, it's Kathy here from Kathy Loves to Scrap, and I'm coming to you from the land down under. It is Thursday, so that means we're keeping it simple sometimes. And I apologise, I haven't done it for 2 weeks, I've been sick, but here we go. Here's today's layout, nice and simple, nice and quick, clean and simple. That's how we keep it on a Thursday. So I have these 3 photos here. This will be a companion page for my daughter's cruise album. This one actually is from when she went to Melbourne Zoo. I'm using this paper here, which I'm going to cut some circles out of, and I'm using the gingham for the background and the brown as my framing. So I'm going to get started by cutting out my 1-inch frame, as I use this always around my photo mats and my page framing. And I'm going to cut 4 strips now that are 1/2 inch thick, because we need those for the tic-tac-toe grid for the layout. Using my Creative Memories circle cutter, I'm using the green blade on this this is the large circle on the inside, and I'm going to get those circles, and I need 3 of those. 2 of them I'm going to have the green facing up, and 1 I'm going to have with the bees side showing. I went and found some green from the same range that I had in my scraps, and I'm using that to go over that pink circle as an outline, and I'll show you why in a little while. So I've cut a 4x4 square, thinking that I'm going to get a 4x4 out of these photos, because actually no, I think it was 3.5 by 3.5, because the photo is 5 by 3.5. But then I realised when I do it that actually is still a bit too big, so I have to cut it down again, and my square actually ends up 3 by 3, which I'm using to cut a diamond shape out of the photos. Now that seems a little bit small. If you were using 4x6s, you'd get 3.5 by 3.5 photos. But I am going to double mount them, and they fit on this page. As I said, it is going to be a companion page. It's not the main page. It will go next to a complimentary page in her album, and these were of the monkeys. She was very proud of her photos of these monkeys, so I'm just highlighting the fact that she was able to get them, and this monkey was very cheeky, in particular the big one, and so these photos highlight that for her. I am going to, as I said, double mount them, so I go up from 2.5 to 2 3/4, and then 3 as my squares. So that then gives me my 3 different mounted photos, which I'm going to use in the tic-tac-toe board. Very simple. I've rounded the corners on these photos just to give them a different look. I thought that it just looked complementary to the circles that I'm using in the other part of the board. So quickly mounting those up, nice and easy. They're just double mounted, and they're now ready to work with. Now this part was a little bit tricky, I'm not going to lie, but it can be easier. I'm using shorter pieces of cardstock. If you just cut strips that are 12 by 12, it's so much easier. You just lay them down and then they work. As I use my inner part of the board that I had trimmed to make it, I needed to extend my cardstock. So I have my half circles, which I'm going to lay there, and I also ran my circles through the embossing machine to give some texture. As you can see, I have extended by adding, cutting them and extending along the line, and then putting the half circles over the gaps in between to cover up where I have extended them across the layout. The 2 circles go in under the half circle, so they're showing a half tuck underneath, and that fills in those gaps. When you put the photos in, they now don't look small. They now look like they're meant to be part of the board, and they are filling up with my noughts and crosses, and they actually fit in beautifully. Now the page I once saw done like this had bigger photos. It was as good, but I actually like these smaller ones with the space around it showing the pattern underneath. On my Cricut, I cut out a monkey, which I found in the design studio, and I added a matting behind it, and I put in the font that I'm using quite regularly lately, and put in the title, "What's the Problem?" Now I misplaced the little apostrophe, so I have to go and cut one extra, and you'll see that at the end, and I have put it in. I have these clear acetate stickers of foliage, and so I'm looking for 2 just to bulk up a little bit around the page, keeping it very simple. I could die cut, you could punch if you have hole punch, like paper punches that are leaves or foliage, or if you have ephemera, that you could add that as well. I just thought that I wanted to extend it a little bit from that cluster there with the title and the monkey and carry it across the board. So this tic-tac-toe approach is quite simple. I like the effect that it has. You can see that this page has come together quite easily and quite quickly. I'm just going to add in where it was, and this is Melbourne Zoo, and this is where my daughter and my mum went on their cruise earlier this year, and I'm adding it into my daughter's album. Now I look at it and I contemplate it, and this is what I often do with my layouts. I just keep watching them for a moment to see if I'm actually happy with them, and then I realise that no, as per me, I need to do something with that edge. It's just sitting a little bit plain for me. So I go in and add in a faux stitching around the outside. Now really clever people pull out the sewing machine and do the sewing, but I am just using faux, and that keeps it nice and simple. So you can see there how that layout came together really very quickly and very easily. And that's why we like Thursdays, because we're keeping it simple and keeping the structure so that anybody can do it. All you needed were 3 circles, some strips of paper and a title and a little bit of ephemera. So hopefully something here you found interesting, something you found here that triggered your desire to create a layout. If it did, give me a like. We're back to keeping it simple on a Thursday. That die cut there is just done on the Cricut. You can see how quickly and easily this came together. I'm Kathy from Kathy Loves to Scrap, and I'm coming to you from the land down under. Hit that like button, give me a thumbs up. It lets YouTube know you want to see more of my content. And don't forget, if you're not already subscribed, do so. It costs you nothing, but thank you if you are, and keep coming back. Thanks for the comments. I always get back to them. The feedback is greatly appreciated. You can find me on all my socials under Kathy Loves to Scrap, on Instagram in particular, where all my layouts end up, even those without a video. Thanks once again for watching. Happy scrapping. Until next time.